Outside Waco, Texas, a lone woman stands in a murky pond, surrounded by an unnerving silence. She's clad in rubber boots, a long stick in her hand, methodically probing the waterline as if hunting for something she'd lost. Or perhaps, something she desperately needs to ensure no one else ever discovers. But what she's unaware of is that investigators have already retrieved it from the murky depths. This is the perplexing case of Darlene Gentry, a registered nurse, a mother of 3, once celebrated as her high school's homecoming queen, and now the primary person of interest in the fatal shooting of her husband, Keith Gentry.
Robinson 911, what's your emergency? I got up this morning. I was in my son's room because I didn't sleep. My back door was open. My husband's guns are all gone. And there's blood on the bed, and he is drinking foam stuff out of his mouth. And he's making a god-awful sound.
First responders were on the scene within a matter of minutes. They quickly noted the absence of any broken windows or telltale signs of a forced entry. What was most peculiar, however, were the firearms allegedly stolen from the gun cabinet, which were found stacked meticulously in a pile right by the door. On the 911 call, Darlene's tone wasn't that of a frantic wife fighting to save her husband's life. Instead, she sounded like someone more concerned with establishing her own alibi, an odd response, given that her husband was losing blood with every passing second, and yet no one had even pointed a finger at her. The responding officer's instincts were screaming that something about the crime scene was fundamentally wrong.
Something stinks about this. Something ain't right here, man. I'm telling you.
Keith was immediately transported to the hospital, his condition listed as critical. Investigators then requested Darlene accompany them to the station for an interview, couching it as a routine conversation to help them piece together the events of that morning. But in truth, this was the start of a formal interrogation.
Tell me in your own words y'all's activity from last night to this morning.
Well, I didn't get home until probably around 8 o'clock, maybe a little later than that. I had to go to Temple. I had a friend of mine that was down there. And so I went to go see how she was doing. He had released. And I got in, I said maybe about 8:15, something like that. And of course, Jason's the oldest, was passed out on his bed. He was tired from school. And changed diapers, got him ready for bed. Laid with him for a little bit, just trying to get him to chill out. And then Keith and I sat down and talked in the living room, just about normal things, and of course money and everything else, and what we need to do to get out of debt and everything else. And
About what time was that?
We didn't go to bed until almost 11. So I'd say anywhere between 9:30 to 11 or so. We were in the living room talking. Well, I take that back. Probably till 10:30 or so, because then I went into the shower. And then he was already turning out the lights and everything when I got out of the shower. And
Go over the bed and check the road?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We always start out that way.
Okay.
And the kids were all sleeping in one room, and between 1 and 1:30, the middle one started hollering. So I went in there.
What's the
Cody.
Cody?
He's 2.5. So I went in there trying to calm him down. Got him not back to sleep, but I just told him to lay down and hush and quit hollering because he's going to wake everybody else up. And then I went back to bed. And
Back to y'all's room?
yeah, back to our room. And probably about an hour after that, Cade, the youngest one, was up hollering. So I went and put the pacifier back in his mouth.
I was Kate.
19 months. I went and put the pacifier back in his mouth and tried to get him to chill out, and he went drifted on back to sleep. And so I went back to our room, and I guess I was in there until about 3:15, 3:30, something like that. And change clothes. I had shorts, a little short night set thing, and I was freezing, so I put the longer ones on and went in there with them, laid down on the foot of the bed, and by this time Chase was up, the oldest, wanting something to drink, and I told him he had to go to the bathroom, so he went to the bathroom, went and got him something, a drink of water or something on the refrigerator, and he came back, and Cody and Kate were both up, so we put Homeward Bound on, which is one of their favorite movies, and we just kind of laid there. And before I do it, I was asleep, and apparently everybody else was too, until almost 6. I do remember waking up probably about 5:15 or so, and I rolled over and looked at this clock and said, I'm not getting up. I didn't have to be up to about 5:45, so I said, I'm going to take my extra 30 minutes. Before I knew it, apparently it was back out, and then Kate's jumping on my head, the oldest, and it was 5 minutes after 6 by his clock.
The lead detective started with a soft opening, asking Darlene to walk him through her movements from the previous evening into that morning. It's a classic rapport-building technique, designed to get a subject comfortable and locked into a narrative flow. Darlene's response was a flood of hyper-specific, chronological details. She recounted precise arrival times, diaper changes, the names of her children, and even the specific movie they had watched. On the surface, none of these facts were incriminating, but this dense wall of trivial domestic information serves a clear psychological purpose. It acts as a filler, occupying the space where genuine emotion should reside. An overly detailed timeline is a common tactic used to feign credibility. Darlene's gaze seldom makes contact with the investigators. On the rare occasion she does look up, it's a fleeting glance before her eyes drop again. Her body language is broadcasting the story she refuses to tell, arms locked across her chest, a completely closed-off posture. In interviews involving genuine grief, subjects typically lean forward, gesturing outward when recounting traumatic memories. Darlene, however, does the opposite. She physically contracts, conserving her energy for maintaining control, not for expressing emotion.
Then you said about 6 o'clock is when you got up.
Yeah, it's 6.
Tell me the events about that. What woke you up, or
Literally him jumping on my head, the baby jumping on my head is what physically made me realize I'm already late. I need to get up, get moving, and then ran to the hall bath, and then I ran into the kitchen to get the boys something to drink. Gave them that. They're following me, and I told Chase, I said, Daddy's alarm's going off again, as usual. And he's hollering, Daddy, turn it off. And I'm going, Pete, turn off your alarm. And I got to the little foyer, like by our bedroom, and I told Chase, I said, it's cold in here. And that's when I saw the back door open, which is the, I guess you say side door, not really the back door. And so all I did was go into the room, turn on my lamp, and I just slammed the door shut. And I turned around and I realized the gun cabinet was open and there were no guns inside of it. And so then I screamed at Keith, telling him that his guns were not in the gun cabinet, that he needed to get up. And the boys were already in the bedroom. Cade was crawling up on my hope chest that's by my bed, and all I did was tell him to get down because I could hear the noise however you want it. Sorry. It snores, so I kept thinking it just sounded different. It didn't sound like he always snores. So I put the light on in the bathroom, and when I turned around, I could see his stomach. Like he was breathing with all of his muscles that he had in his abdomen. And then I realized that he had foam coming out of his mouth. And I tried to holler at him, told him Keith, and I kind of hit him. And didn't make any other noises than what he was already making. And then I realized I saw blood on the sheet. And then that's when I just grabbed my cell phone. Of course, it was off, so I had to wait for it to turn on. And I'm trying to get the boys.
Do y'all not have any house phones? Just
We just got rid of it, trying to find ways to save money. So, and actually, it's only been turned off for a little over a week. And we were just trying to save $40. So I had to wait for my cell phone to turn on, and I just punched in 911. I was trying to get the boys out of the room because I didn't want them seeing him. And that's when I made the call, and I told her who it was and where I lived and what he was doing and what I saw. She dispatched police right away and kept me on hold, and I had to talk to the EMS people. And then I remember letting the police officer in the front door, but I don't remember if I hung up on the EMS people. I have no idea.
So you were talking to the police dispatcher. She transferred you to EMS.
Okay.
As Darlene begins to recount her discovery of the scene, her tone remains unnervingly flat and excessively controlled. She keeps her eyes fixed downward for nearly the entire account, glancing up only for a moment before retreating to the safety of the floor. From a psychological interrogation standpoint, this level of limited eye contact isn't indicative of shyness. It's a deliberate act of control. She isn't avoiding the detective, she's meticulously managing the narrative she's constructed in her mind. Her account of that morning is most notable for its glaring omissions. She states that she found the door ajar and the gun cabinet emptied, yet she conveys no sense of fear that an intruder could still be present. Rather than panicking, her immediate reaction was to yell for Keith, not to warn him of danger, but to inform him the gun cabinet was empty. This is a strangely detached response for someone facing a potential home invasion. Then, she begins adding superfluous details, the specific temperature of the room, a comment her son allegedly made about the alarm system, and the precise, word-for-word phrasing of her own statements. This is a classic sign of cognitive overcompensation, an attempt to pad the narrative with trivial specifics to bolster its credibility. The irony is, this behavior is a strong indicator of a rehearsed lie, and when emotion does finally make an appearance, it's fleeting and wildly inconsistent with the context. Tears come when she describes Keith's physical state, but seconds later, she's laughing about their decision to cancel the landline to save $40. That jarring emotional shift is a textbook example of discordant affect. It's a classic indicator of emotional detachment.
Did you hear any peculiar noises throughout the night from, I don't know, you started getting up about 1:30 with Cody.
Mm-hmm.
And then an hour later with Cade, and then about 3:15, 3:30 with Chase.
Other than the dogs barking, and Gunner's normally, we've had him from the puppy. We've only had that other dog for a couple of weeks, maybe a week, something like that. Gunner's normally very good and doesn't just bark and bark and bark. But he was carrying on, and I hollered at him once to stop it. And I honestly, I do not know. I don't know if it wasn't the first time I got up, because I don't remember hearing him then.
You a heavy sleeper or light sleeper?
Normally, I've been having issues sleeping, period, here lately. Normally, I'm fairly, I'd say light just because of kids, but once they wake me up, I'm very light. But that first, when I go out, I'm out until I get woke up. But I can't tell you.
So it's kind of in between idiot.
Yeah.
So Gunner was barking, and that's the older dog. You have two dogs.
Yeah, he's 9 months. And even Keith made comments that some dogs just yelp and yelp and yelp. He does it unless he see something or somebody walking in or something like that, every once in a while we have them greyhounds that are behind us and they'll get wound up and he'll bark at them, but it's normally not too much of an issue. And he was barking last night, and I opened up the French doors and I fussed at him, told him to get on the porch and hushed, and then he came over here and laid down.
That was when?
No, that was this past night.
Last
night. But it wasn't the first time I got up. It had to have been in between when I got up at 2 something, because I know it wasn't when I had my pants on, and I didn't change into those until I went and laid down physically with the boys, because I was standing at that back door freezing in my shorts.
Okay. So, was it 3:15 and 3:30? So when you got up to change the clothes from the shorts, because you were cool.
Yeah.
And you got up with Chase then.
Well, it was actually the baby that was hollering, but Chase was awake too.
Okay.
And I just made him go to the bathroom until he wanted something to
So,
drink.
the dog was sometime between 1:30 and 2 something is when he went out to the door.
Yeah.
Did you see anything?
No, and we've got a light that's back there by that gray shed, that tin shed, and it doesn't illuminate a lot of things, but I mean, I didn't notice anything different because there's always shadows out there just because of all the trees and stuff we have.
Is it a motion light?
No, it's on all the time. I mean, when it's dark.
Dark. So the light stays on all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is it one of those lights that come on when it goes dark and goes off? Okay.
Yeah. And we don't have to physically turn it on and off.
That's on the back corner of the house?
No, that's out by the
Tree line? Or...
silver shed that Keith built. It's at the back of our fence. Not the back of our property, the back of our fence. And where Gunner ran from when I hollered at him, he was in between the back fence and the where our trampoline's at.
Okay, so he...
But I don't know which direction he was barking at. I just know that's the area he ran from and came and laid down.
Back fence.
But Willie has a guy that owns land behind us. Got several horses and a donkey and all kind of stuff back there too. So, you know, I don't pay any attention to, because he'll bark at them too. But
that was about
roughly maybe between 2:15 and 2:30, because it was almost like every hour they were getting me up. Just about time I'd get good and asleep, somebody would go to hollering.
any problem with any of the neighbors? Excuse me, I'm sorry.
No. No, I mean, I have in-laws all the way around me. And definitely not with my mother-in-law and father-in-law.
They live on the east side of you.
Talking to people. If left or right. If I'm looking at my house, I'm going left.
It's on the left.
Yeah, I'm not good with direction.
And your husband's sister lived right.
With her husband and her two boys and her oldest son's now wife and their little baby.
So she's got that son.
Their little girl. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and they always had people, like younger kids running around and stuff, but we never had any issues with them. I mean, it's not a...
At night, y'all lock up?
Normally. I mean, it's normally not... We normally don't leave anything open except our vehicles. And I know I did go throw out... Cody had poop. I guess that was why he woke me up at 1:30. He had pooped in his diaper and wanted to be changed. And I know I did go out the side door to throw the poopy diaper in a Walmart bag in the black barrel out there like we always do. But honestly and truly, I don't remember if I physically locked the door back. So I'm not going to say one way or the other because I don't know.
So you went out that side door, drove Poopy Diaper out, about what time?
That was when he woke up the first time at 1:30.
1:30.
Mm-hmm.
But normally the doors are locked except for vehicles.
Mhm.
You keep the keys in there. Did you notice anything odd in that den area? That when you went through?
No, I mean, honestly, I didn't even turn the lamp on. So, I mean, I keep as many lights off as possible just because, I just normally walk through. And I physically unlock the door to get out because it's hard to kind of unlock because it kind of sticks in the deadbolt does.
Yeah.
And that's normally the only one we lock on that door is the deadbolt.
When the investigator questions her about any strange noises overnight, Darlene's immediate response is to mention the dogs, specifically pointing to the older one, Gunner. She claims he isn't prone to barking wildly unless a passerby is in sight, even bolstering her story by mentioning Keith used to say the very same thing. This is a calculated maneuver. By highlighting the dog's habits and corroborating it with her dead husband's words, Darlene is constructing a foundation of credibility for a potential intruder scenario. This is her attempt to control the narrative from the outset, implying that if the dog was making a racket, then an outsider must have been lurking nearby. But that's where the first major discrepancy appears. Darlene recounts minor, trivial details with almost photographic recall: the precise time she woke up, the Walmart bag used for the diaper, even snippets of what the children said overnight. However, when pressed on the most crucial piece of information, whether she actually locked the door after going out, her memory conveniently goes blank. This isn't just a random memory gap, it's a selective failure of recollection, a lapse that conveniently opens the door for a scenario where an intruder could enter without forced entry. Her pat answer, "I don't remember," serves to keep the intruder theory viable while giving her plausible deniability. Taken together, the story of the barking dog and the forgotten lock creates a superficially plausible narrative, but, at its core, it feels carefully constructed, not genuinely remembered.
You mentioned y'all were trying to save some money. Have y'all been having some financial problems? Or?
Well, we're just, this third kid, and it's killing us, basically. So we've just been trying to butt heads, figure out which way, because, of course, we are getting behind on some bills, and it's just been one thing after another. So we're trying to figure out how we need to go about it, and we were discussing if we needed to do a home equity loan, that line of credit that they're talking about. I'm doing it just to pay everything off so that way we wouldn't be late on anything, and because that's the one thing Keith is a fanatic about is his credit, and I'm the world's worst at it, so.
Y'all argue about that a lot?
Well, we don't, I wouldn't say we argue a lot about it, but we do argue about it. I mean, it's not something we argue every day about, but we do argue about it. I'd say at least every 2 months or something like that, we're getting into a heated discussion. Well, why didn't you pay this one instead of, and he's fussing at me for juggling things and trying to, waiting almost to the last minute to pay something so that way we made sure nothing bounced.
Right.
So, but other than that, that's the only true issues we even have.
How was the marriage?
Fine. Other than trying to figure out how to raise these 3 kids. And that's what I was telling you last night. I finally got my year raise 2 months later.
Raises are hard to come.
No, they actually gave me $2. So I was excited, and so was he.
So he works at Brazos Electric. Mm-hmm. How long have you been working there?
I think it'll be 4 years in March.
And you work?
You can put WGEC is the Waco Gastroenterology Endoscopy Center. EC. It's owned by Waco Gastro and Associates.
Gastrointestinal. Waco Gastro.
You're getting me confused. Waco Gastroenterology Endoscopy Center.
How long have you been working there?
It was a year this past September.
have insurance through y'all's respective companies, life insurance, health insurance?
Our health and dental is through Keith's work, and I just filled out a thing to put him and the boys possibly on mine because Bryce is talking about going up again, but that's not set in concrete yet. And I think with Braz's there's a small life insurance like on the boys, like maybe a 10,000 or something like that with them. And then Keith and I both have life insurance with Farm Bureau.
And that comes out of y'all's check.
No, that's a direct draft.
Keith seemed depressed about the money issue, or?
Well, I mean, he hasn't been himself the last probably, I don't know, year and a half or so. And I know he's stressed just because, I mean, it's a lot. He's one of those firm believers that, you know, he's supposed to be the man of the house and he's supposed to be making the money, and tell him all the time he should have been born back in the early 1900s. But I don't know. And, you know, never been diagnosed with depression. But me and his mother, we had a pretty heated discussion, I guess, actually on my birthday, the 2nd of November.
Did she disagree with you, or?
Oh no, I mean, because he just flies off the handle and he gets so upset. And I know it has nothing to do with the person that he's talking to. It's just everything is finally built up, and then he just.
So you and your mother-in-law had a heated discussion about Keith?
Yeah, and I was venting basically, just talking about how, because he'll lose it with the kids, and then I get upset, and it just.
Was she on your side, or y'all?
Oh, she absolutely loves her son. Do not get me wrong, because, and he loves her. It's just, he has never known how to talk to his parents or me. It's like he's afraid to show his emotion. So let's get mad about it. And I said it to her, and he's admitted it to me that he knows by some form or fashion he is depressed, but he would never do anything about it. I mean, that's.
Think he's capable of hurting himself?
No, I mean, I honestly, truly, he loves them boys too much. I mean, there's no way. There's no way. I mean,
But if he's that depressed, Darlene, if he loves those boys that much, he doesn't want to see them do without. Do you think he would do something to himself to see that they don't do without, with insurance?
I mean, I honestly and truly, deep down in my heart, do not believe he would do that. I really don't, just because.
And I understand. You know, I'm having to ask some really, really personal questions.
I know.
And I appreciate you bearing with me on this.
I mean, I really.
And I didn't have a great amount of time to examine y'all's house and the bedroom, but it's just, and he was not there when I got there. They were already loaded into the ambulance, but
I'm sorry.
no, that's okay. It's quite all right.
I'm sorry. I just.
It's quite all right. We will take a small break.
It's not going to make any difference. I mean, he may have been depressed, but I still honestly, truly don't believe he would do that. I really don't, just because that's all he ever talks about is teaching Chase how to play baseball. I mean, that's always been, that's what he wants. He's always wanted to Chase to play baseball because that's what Keith did. And of course, every man wants their boys to be just like them, except for, you know, and he would tell Chase after he'd get upset, he'd tell him and he'd sit him down and say, you know, Daddy shouldn't have acted that way. You know, that was wrong. I don't want you acting that way. I meant he would step up every time. Anytime he knew he messed up, he would step up and admit it. I mean,
He was a little overbearing on it and stuff.
yeah, and he would. He loved them too much. I mean, and I think that's why I'd get frustrated is because he wanted them to be more than what they were being. He would just forget that they were 5, 2, and 1. I mean, you know, they were his world.
And you being his wife, loving the husband, saw the blood on the sheets. Was there any weapons on the bed?
I honestly saw nothing other than just the foam coming out of his mouth, and I tried to shake him. And when I tried to shake him, that's when I noticed something by his head, and I kind of leaned in more to look, and that's when I went to hollering at the kids, "Get out, get out, get out."
What did you see?
I just saw the red, and I automatically assumed it was blood just because, I mean, and so that's when I started calling, and it was just like I don't know.
I've got crime scene people at your house right now. They're going to be searching the house, you know, the grounds and all that. Any problems between you and Keith that I need to be aware of? I mean, you know, we discussed earlier that, you know, also, since I read your rights, by us talking, you're waiving your rights. You understand what waiving your rights means. Means you agree to talk to me at any time until you want your rights to make it. You can stop. You don't think he would have harmed himself?
I mean, honestly, deep down in my heart, I really do not think he would have.
That's right.
I said, honestly and truly, deep down in my heart, I do not believe he would have.
Any promise between you two guys outside y'all's marriage affairs or anything like that?
No, strictly the only problems we've ever had has been money. So, I mean,
He hadn't been abusive to you or anything like that?
no, I mean, he's never hit me, no.
Just
Talking.
verbally abusive?
Yeah. I mean, and that's, everybody gets that way, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, nothing.
Would it have made you angry enough to harm your husband?
I mean, I love my husband. And that's what I was telling him last night, that it's half of my fault that we're in the position that we're in. And that I was in tears last night talking to him, and he was hugging me and everything else. No, I mean, we have been through so many things. There's no way.
How long y'all been married?
6.5 years. I mean, granted, there's been times I swore I was leaving, and there's been times he swore he was leaving, but I would never hurt him.
Yeah.
I would do absolutely nothing but harm the boys. I mean, if anything had happened to either one of us, they would be the people that would suffer.
Yeah.
Just because
The investigator then shifts tactics, probing for motive with 3 understated questions: financial pressures, the state of the marriage, and the life insurance policy. Darlene fields each one with a blend of admission and downplay. She admits they were falling behind on a few bills, suggests a home equity line of credit as a solution, and offers a soft laugh about raises and saving, a touch of humor designed to soften the reality of their financial strain. This lighthearted tone, right after admitting to debt, is a textbook minimization tactic. She acknowledges the problem, only to immediately try and soften it. When the subject of insurance is raised, she offers an unprompted level of detail. She listed health and dental through Keith's job, a small policy for the boys, and separate Farm Bureau life policies for each of them. In The Psychology of Interrogation, Volunteering this much information before it's requested often signifies that she knows the topic is critical and wants to portray it as ordinary, something long-standing and mutual, not something specifically focused on Keith. It's a textbook case of preemptive normalization.
Did you at any time touch him?
Well, I mean, I know I physically did. I mean, like I shook his leg when I was trying to get his attention, but phone's in my pocket. I just turned it on.
The reason I asked is we got some rangers at the house, some Texas Rangers. They're assisting with the crime scene stuff. They found what they think might be blood in y'all's bathroom sink.
I don't know. As I said, I haven't, other than touching his leg, that is the only part I believe I touched of him.
So you don't remember going after touching maybe any bloody area?
No, I was literally, my cell phone was on my dresser, which is on his side of the bed. When I couldn't get him to respond to me, I turned directly from there, picked up the phone and, turned it on. And then, of course, had to wait for the service to hit and hit 911. And I had the kids and I was corralling them.
But you never at any time went to that sink?
Not to my knowledge, by any form or fashion.
When y'all walk in y'all's bedroom, Darlene, that's okay. I guess the door is kind of right there.
Yeah.
It's
actually, it's the hallways right here. We have another little door, and the gun case sits right here.
Okay, so this is where the door would be that goes outside the drive. I got you.
Yeah.
So the gun case is right here.
Yeah.
Where's the keys kept for this?
On top.
Who all knows that?
Honestly, I don't know. And the officer there asked me, could you see it from the top? And I told him, of course I can't, but I've noticed Keith, like when he's going to look, he has to get up on his toes a little bit, and he's 5'9". But as long as he stands on his toes.
Do you know how many guns in the house?
I know he had his deer rifle, which was in a case all by itself in the back room. And that was only because it was still left out.
Plastic case, hard case?
It's hard. It's a hard case.
Hard case.
But it's portable.
Okay, hard case. Okay.
And then I know he had some type of handgun. Don't ask me what it is because I have no idea.
Okay. Was it any type of case?
I honestly, I don't know.
Okay.
And in the gun cabinet itself, I know just walking back and forth, there might have been 3 guns in there. And one of them actually might have been a BB gun. I don't know. His dad would be the one to actually ask those questions about. That's not anything I mess with. And the boys will jack with the thing all the time. And I'm always holding them. Get away from there, because.
And I really appreciate your patience with me on this, Darlene, but I'm trying to figure out, with you dealing with the kids, and you're kind of a half hard sleeper, half light sleeper, and you can hear the kids, but there had to have been a gunshot that went off inside that house, and gunshots are loud.
And that's what I keep trying to physically rack my brain about. I had the door closed to the kids' bedroom, but our bedroom, we always keep it open. And
was it open when you went down the hall?
It was open because I was hollering at him to turn his alarm clock off.
Does Keith normally sleep on his back?
Normally never, but in probably the last couple of weeks, he's gotten to where he snores really bad, and that's when he's snoring, is when he's laying on his back.
Right.
And so, but normally he lays on his side.
What side? Facing you or facing away?
I'd say majority-wise, probably facing the wall, opposite of me. Normally, just
Is he a heavy sleeper?
very much so. That's why I'm the one that's always up with kids.
Yeah. All right. So you and your husband were talking last night about your finances. From 5 to 8, you were in Temple. You got home around that.
Mhm.
So y'all, did you cook supper? Was supper ready?
I cooked it before I left,
Okay.
and I had the boys.
So you didn't eat though?
No.
Because you ate the food, right?
Right. I made him a plate, made the boys a plate, and it was gone. And I just made hamburger helper. Quick and easy.
So you went to Temple, met her at Bud Records. Did you have to pick her up since your kid was in the shop?
No, actually, she was already at the mall, so I have no idea how or who. Yeah. I just met her at the entrance. And she told me she had some other things to do and she would be fine.
Y'all entertain guests at the house often, or friends coming over?
I mean, we used to a lot, and here lately we've both gotten so busy, it just, we will definitely have normally every June and end of August and in March have huge parties at the house, supposedly for kids' birthday parties, but it turns into adult parties and everything else. So, and we're talking anywhere from probably 35 up to 90 people sometimes.
So a lot of people knew what some of y'all's house looked like, weapons and all that.
Yeah, because it's all been the same. I haven't changed much of anything.
Like I said, Darlene, I really appreciate your help in this. I'm just trying to sort out the events that occurred and you not hearing a gunshot. Just kind of confused a little bit.
The only thing I can say is I did wake up and I looked at the clock at 5:15, but I don't know why I woke up. I just remember rolling over and seeing the clock. It said 5:15, and I said,
any other noise in the house?
no, I heard absolutely nothing.
Does it concern you that someone could have been in the house?
Oh, yeah, because I did not get scared until I turned around and I saw the guns were gone out of the gun case. My gun case was empty. I did not.
6.
Yeah, and I did not get scared until that point because I'm there a lot of times with the kids by myself.
But you don't know if you left that door open.
Yeah, I'll be very honest. I remember unlocking it because it said it's very hard to unlock. And
you remember locking it?
That's what I'm saying. I do not physically remember if I locked it or didn't lock it.
But when the police got there, was it unlocked?
They came in the front door.
Did you have to unlock the front door?
Yes. Yeah. And I had to unlock the French doors when I hollered at Gunner to get up on the porch too.
Did you lock those back?
And I assume I did the French doors, but I don't know. I'll be very honest, I don't know. And the front door, I never touched it again after I let him come in. The officer. So, but it was locked. And I was still on the phone with the dispatch. And as I can say, between when I went...
So you did unlock the front doors when you threw the dirty diaper out and hollered at the gun.
The French doors is in the back.
Right.
I had to do that when I unlocked it, but when I did the dirty diaper, it's on the side door.
Okay.
And I had to unlock it.
But you think you unlocked the front door? Did you?
I'm almost positive I locked the French door back.
Excuse me. That's all. Interruption. That was my partner again. The detective I got at the hospital said that they need the wife there to make some medical decisions on behalf of your husband. Okay, so what I'm going to do if you'll just bear with me just a few more minutes, I'm going to get you to the hospital. Until I can sort through what's going on, Darlene, are you listening to me?
Yes, I'm listening.
Everyone's a suspect right now until I can determine how your husband suffered this gunshot wound. That's not to take away that he could have done it himself. You understand this?
Yes.
If there was a gun on that bed, you moved it to save his integrity or anything like that, I need to know now.
I did not move a gun.
Did you harm your husband?
No, I did not harm my husband.
You and I have been working with a pretty good relationship here. You know, I'm trying to figure out what happened.
I know.
That's all I'm trying to do right now. I may need to collect a DNA sample from you, Darlene, like I explained to you a while ago when I read you your rights. It's just a process of elimination. Until I can figure out who else was in y'all's home, everyone in my mind is responsible for what's going on. Okay, because you're the only one that was in the house that can tell me what's going on. The kids can't tell me. Your husband can't tell me right now. Yeah, and I apologize. I'm trying to be just as sensitive as I can. I've got counselors on standby. And we'll deal with them later, okay? And I really appreciate you working with me with this, because you're going to have to help me.
I know. And the only thing that I can say of maybe why I didn't per se, it registered that was a different sound maybe when it went off, is because I did have the movie going and the door was shut to that room.
You mean the sound at 5:15?
Yeah, whatever, or why I woke up, because the movie was just about to go off.
Do you know of anybody that was going to come into the house?
No, no one should have been
the
coming.
door unlocked for someone to come in the house.
No, I mean, no one should have been in my house, period, except for us. And that's my mother-in-law.
Well, and if you need to tell her anything, we're just going to get your clothes changed and we're going to get you to the hospital.
Okay.
The detective then returned to a crucial line of questioning. He asked Darlene if she was ever worried that someone might have been in the house. It sounds like a simple inquiry, but this turns out to be one of the most revealing moments of the interrogation. She states that she only became frightened after she noticed the gun cabinet was empty. That immediately raised a red flag, because earlier in her account, when she first described discovering the open cabinet, she made no mention of being afraid whatsoever. She claimed she'd only yelled to Keith that the firearms were missing. There was no reported panic, no protective instinct for the children, no mention of seeking cover or calling for assistance. Now, when confronted with the same question a second time, she conveniently inserts fear into the narrative after the fact, a retroactive emotion clearly intended to make her story seem more believable. This type of narrative shift is a classic indicator in deceptive interrogations. When a subject realizes their initial version lacks emotional depth or sounds rehearsed, they often try to patch the holes later. The problem is, genuine fear manifests in the moment of discovery, not as a revised detail after time for reflection. It's crucial to note that throughout the entire interview, Darlene never once inquired about her husband's condition, nor did she ever ask to be taken to the hospital. She had her phone on her person and could have made a call at any point. That level of detachment is extremely unusual for a spouse whose husband just sustained a gunshot wound to the head. It wasn't Darlene who initiated the request to go to the hospital. It was a detective who received a call from the hospital, with doctors requesting her presence. The detectives subsequently transported Darlene to the medical center. Medical staff did everything in their power, but the gunshot wound had left Keith with no brain activity. He was taken off life support and pronounced deceased. According to the testimony of Keith's father, Darlene showed none of the emotion expected from a grieving widow.
Never saw her actually really break down. She had tears in her eyes and mourned, but not like someone like that should have done.
Following Keith's death, detectives requested that Darlene return to the station to resume the interview. She agreed, but by this point, investigators weren't just looking for answers, they were hunting for a confession. The moment Darlene sensed this shift in the interrogation's tone, she immediately terminated the interview and requested legal counsel. Approximately 3 weeks later, Darlene was taken into custody, her bond set at $50,000, which she promptly posted the very same night. Keith's parents, however, remained steadfast in their belief of her innocence and offered Darlene and her children sanctuary in their own home. Months ticked by, with Darlene existing in a legal gray area, free on bail but living under a heavy cloud of suspicion.
This was a circumstantial case. It wasn't what I'd call a slam dunk. It was not one of these cases where you have a confession or a bunch of eyewitnesses.
The entire case against her was missing one vital piece of the puzzle: Keith's missing .22 caliber handgun. Attempting to piece her life back together, Darlene began searching for a new home. Her search led her to a real estate developer by the name of Robert Pavelka. He informed her that while he had no houses currently for sale, he did have an available plot of land where she could build a new house from scratch. It was a scenic property, dotted with large oak trees and featuring a serene pond. Darlene appeared to be immediately enchanted by the spot.
She called that next day and said, did the pond come with the land? I said, yeah, that's part of it. She said, well, that's great because Keith always wanted a place for his kids to go fishing.
It had been something Keith would have really wanted. It had huge oak trees. It was a beautiful place.
But just a few weeks later, her interest took a strange turn. Darlene told Robert she still wanted the land, but now insisted the pond be filled in. She cited safety concerns for her children as the reason for this sudden demand.
We walked it, looked at it, she got ready to go. Then she said, well, you can take your bulldozer and push that pond in now.
I said, I guess fill it in. I said, because to me, it'd be safer for the kids.
Robert Pavelka knew about Darlene's case, and her odd request raised a red flag. He couldn't shake the suspicion that Darlene wanted the pond gone to conceal the murder weapon. Following his intuition, he made a call to the police.
I said, aren't y'all missing the murder weapon? And he said, yeah. I said, this don't seem right to me.
First she wanted the water, now she doesn't want the water. My first thought was, as his, that she had thrown the weapon in the tank.
On the morning of January 4th, a dive team began a methodical search of the pond. There, buried in the murky depths, they recovered a firearm. It was Keith's missing .22, the very weapon they believed had been used to end his life. With this discovery, the case was forwarded to a grand jury. Darlene Gentry was subsequently indicted for first-degree murder. When the time came for the case to go to trial, Darlene maintained an air of confidence, certain she would be acquitted. Despite having recovered the gun, the prosecutors knew they faced a formidable challenge. There was no direct forensic evidence that could prove she was the one who had tossed it into the pond. In legal terms, the case against her was purely circumstantial, one that would rely on interpreting her behavior rather than on concrete evidence. It would be a monumental task to convince a jury that this former beauty queen, a nurse and mother of 3, had taken her husband's life. During their opening statements to the court, the prosecution alleged that Darlene was the one who had fired the fatal shot, had arranged the crime scene before dialing 911, seemingly more concerned with projecting her innocence than with saving his life.
Promise to 911, much emergency. I got up this morning, I was in my son's room because I didn't sleep. My back door was open, my husband's guns are all gone, and there's blood on the bed, and he is doing foam stuff out of his mouth, and he's making a god-awful sound.
The defense countered, positing that Darlene's tone on the 911 call was a product of shock, not an admission of guilt, arguing that simply because she wasn't screaming hysterically didn't mean she wasn't terrified by the situation unfolding. Her legal team asserted that from the moment they arrived, investigators had zeroed in on her demeanor, presuming her guilt before a proper investigation had even commenced.
She was the only suspect that they ever focused on.
Their defense was, well, Robinson police had her nailed from the beginning. They just wanted to get her. They knew it was her. They never looked beyond Darlene Gentry.
As the trial progressed, the prosecution expanded its case beyond the murder itself, highlighting Darlene's alleged actions afterward, her visit to the pond property, and her subsequent demand that it be filled in. On the stand, Robert testified that he had reached out to a friend on the police force to voice his suspicions. Following that, Texas Ranger Steve Foster took the stand, detailing the recovery of the weapon and revealing a shocking turn of events. It turned out the Rangers hadn't simply found the gun, they had orchestrated a clever ruse to lure Darlene back to the pond to recover it. They had Robert inform her that the pond had to be drained before it could be filled, calculating that she would return to retrieve the weapon before that could happen.
She got pretty shook up. You could tell it rattled her.
A covert camera was positioned near the location from which the firearm had been retrieved. The gambit paid off. Shortly thereafter, Darlene was captured on camera at the pond, scouring the precise area where the weapon had been discovered. This was the irrefutable evidence the prosecution had been searching for.
I called Robinson Police Department and I said, "You're not going to believe what we've got on video."
When the Rangers retrieved the firearm, they marked its position with a small wooden stake, and the surveillance footage showed Darlene frantically combing the area right next to that marker. Then, a year after Keith's death, on February 8, 2007, the jury returned with its verdict. Following 5 hours of deliberation, they declared Darlene Gentry guilty of murder. Her sentence was 60 years behind bars. If you found this case analysis insightful, please support us by liking the video, subscribing, and ringing the notification bell to stay updated on our future investigations.